The Apollo 11 moon landing mystery, a deep dive into humanity's greatest achievement. And the shadows of doubt, the Apollo 11 mission stands as one of the most glorious achievements in human history, a moment when mankind seemingly transcended the bounds of Earth and stepped onto the surface of another world. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong, followed by Buzz Aldrin, descended from the lunar module Eagle and set foot on the moon, while Michael Collins orbited above in the command module. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Those words became immortal, echoing across every continent as proof that human ambition knows no limits. Yet, beneath this glittering celebration of technological prowess and national pride lies a dark undercurrent, a web of conspiracy theories that question whether this monumental event really occurred, or whether it was the greatest deception ever orchestrated. The Apollo 11 mission, backed by NASA and the United States government, was born in the fiery crucible of the Cold War, an era when superpowers vied not only for military supremacy, but also for ideological dominance. The Soviet Union's early successes with Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin ignited a space race that pushed America to its limits. President John F. Kennedy's iconic 1961 speech declared that the U.S. would send a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decades, and a bold pledge that galvanized a generation of engineers, scientists, and dreamers. NASA's engineers worked tirelessly, creating the Saturn V rocket, a towering mechanical beast whose roar shook the Earth as it propelled Apollo 11 towards the heavens. As millions watched on television, hearts beating with awe and disbelief, the spacecraft traveled across the silent void of space, bridging the vast, terrifying gap between Earth and Moon. When Armstrong and Aldrin finally stepped onto the lunar surface, they planted an American flag and collected samples, forever etching their names into history books. Meanwhile, Collins, the often forgotten third astronaut, orbited alone, embodying the solitude and vulnerability of human exploration. The images of the moon landing, grainy yet magical, filled the screens of a global audience, becoming symbols of progress and triumph. However, even as the world celebrated, whispers of doubt began to surface. Some claimed that the shadows in the photographs were inconsistent, suggesting multiple light sources rather than the singular harsh sunlight of the lunar surface. Others pointed to the American flag seemingly fluttering in a breeze, questioning how such movement could occur in a vacuum where no air exists. There were claims that the Van Allen radiation belts would have been fatal to the astronauts, preventing them from ever reaching the moon in the first place. These doubts found fertile ground among those skeptical of government narratives, growing into elaborate conspiracy theories that accused NASA of staging the entire event on a Hollywood-style set, perhaps directed by the legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick himself. Yet, when we look deeper, the evidence overwhelmingly supports the authenticity of Apollo 11. The lunar rocks brought back have been studied worldwide, found to be unique and consistent with lunar geology. The retroflectors left on the lunar surface still bounce lasers sent from Earth, a silent testimony to human presence on the moon. Moreover, thousands of engineers, scientists, and contractors contributed to Apollo's success. For a hoax of this scale to remain concealed for decades would require an impossible level of secrecy. Still, the allure of conspiracy persists. Perhaps it is human nature to question grand narratives, to seek hidden truths behind official stories. The moon landing symbolizes the apex of human ingenuity and the audacity to reach beyond our planet. Yet it also embodies the tension between faith in progress and suspicion of power. Over the decades, NASA's legacy has grown richer, with subsequent Apollo missions expanding our knowledge of the moon and space. But Apollo 11 remains the crown jewel, a mission that captured humanity's imagination like no other. Even today, new generations watch the grainy black and white footage, feeling that mixture of wonder and disbelief. The conspiracy theories, while largely debunked, persist on internet forums and in documentaries. Feeding a subculture of skepticism, they thrive on the idea that governments lie, that giant achievements are fabricated to control narratives, that reality itself might be an illusion crafted for mass consumption. Why do these doubts persist? Part of it is the psychological appeal of the hidden knowledge. Believing in conspiracies can give a person a sense of empowerment, of being in the know while others remain blind. In a rapidly changing world, where technology and politics often outpace public understanding, these theories offer a comforting simplicity. If the moon landing was faked, then perhaps other unsettling uncertainties can also be explained away. Another factor is the era in which Apollo 11 occurred. The late 1960s and early 1970s were times of immense social upheaval. The Vietnam War, civil rights movements, political assassinations. Trust in authority was eroding, and the moon landing, as a crowning achievement of governmental ambition, became an easy target for suspicion. Moreover, Hollywood itself contributed inadvertently. Films like Capricorn 1 explored the possibility of a faked space mission, blurring the lines between fiction and reality in the public imagination. As media technology advanced, digital manipulation made it easier for conspiracy theorists to analyze images and videos, drawing conclusions based on misunderstandings of physics, optics, and engineering. But the scientific community has consistently addressed these points. The flag movement was caused by the inertia of the pole, and astronauts handling not air currents. The radiation belts are hazardous. But with proper shielding and brief exposure, they are survivable. The shadows are consistent with uneven terrain and the wide-angle lens used. Beyond the technical debates, the Apollo 11 mission symbolizes something larger, the spirit of exploration. Humans have always looked up at the moon, weaving myths and legends, seeing it as a realm of gods and spirits. For millennia, it represented the unattainable. Then, in 1969, we reached it, turning myth into reality. The footprints on the lunar surface are a testament to human courage and curiosity. The conspiracy theories, ironically, highlight just how monumental this achievement was. So monumental that some people simply cannot accept it as truth. Dhruv Rathi, in his investigative videos, approaches this topic with a scientific lens and a rational mindset, dissecting each claim and explaining the science behind the mission. He emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and evidence-based understanding, encouraging viewers not to fall into the trap of sensational narratives. His deep dive into Apollo 11 showcases not just the engineering marvel, but also the cultural and psychological impact of the moon landing. Looking forward, humanity stands on the cusp of a new era of lunar exploration. NASA's Artemis program aims to return humans to the moon and establish a sustainable presence, possibly paving the way for Mars missions. Private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin dream of lunar bases and space tourism, rekindling that spirit of adventure. In this context, the Apollo 11 mission remains a guiding light, a proof that with collective will, determination, and ingenuity, we can achieve what once seemed impossible. Yet, every giant leap invites shadows, the doubts and conspiracies surrounding Apollo 11 remind us of the delicate balance between belief and skepticism. It teaches us to question, but also to discern evidence from speculation. The moon landing mystery is thus not merely about whether humans went to the moon. It is a mirror reflecting our collective hopes, fears, and the endless dance between imagination and reality. As we stand today, looking up at the night sky, we see the moon glowing serenely. It whispers to us, challenges us, inspires us. We know that somewhere up there, silent and untouched, the footprints of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin still lie in the fine lunar dust, waiting patiently for future explorers. The Apollo 11 mission is not just a chapter in history. It is a beacon for future generations, an invitation to dream beyond horizons. In the end, whether one believes in the landing or not, the story of Apollo 11 embodies the eternal human journey to reach higher, to explore the unknown, and to constantly seek the truth, however elusive it may be.